Thanks.
Hello. So do we have to talk about what we're doing here? I think last time we just did some tidings. You guys kind of kicked it off, right? You guys kicked off a tidings segment. And then, Luke, you had a couple of headlines that you might throw at us for top stories, right?
If you talk about breaking in the Olympics.
That's my tiding. Should I wait?
Really?
Oh,
Perfect.
yes.
That's great because I have a backup,
great.
which is good 7-Elevens coming to the U.S.
Yes. Okay.
So
great.
you keep your tidings, and I'll just do 7-Eleven.
Okay.
If we get to it, and if not, totally fine.
You know what my anniversary is? 7-Eleven.
It was written in the stars.
My favorite store, and that's why I picked that day for my wedding.
And let me add something totally uninteresting. My sister Liz's birthday. Which I actually hate it when people do that because what are you supposed to do with that information? Like a human being happened to be also born on.
Also, a thing I know about you is that you have a sibling with a birthday every day of the year.
Most days.
Yeah, right. You got it
It's
covered.
even more
It's a
uninteresting
real
coming
roulette
from me.
situation.
Yeah, exactly. We've played every number on the wheel.
It would be more remarkable if you were like, it's not one of my
I got nothing.
birthdays.
Hold on, let me check my calendar. I got nothing on this one.
Text me back. Text me back. Text me back. Text me back at once.
Oh, hello. Welcome to a very special episode of Timbtle of the podcast supergroup that many are saying is the best podcast, is the #1 comedy podcast in Ukraine,
Sinking riverboats.
Iceland.
No, every now and again we do get into the top 200 in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And it happens enough that I feel like it's not a fluke. Something's happening in Bulgaria with us that they love.
We're tapping in, you know?
Into the Bulgarian zeitgeist.
I feel like Bulgaria is one of the regions we always get bounced out of when we
we
play
have problems
copyrighted
there.
music on the show. Every now and then they'll play a show, we'll play a song, and then like YouTube will say, "Well, okay, but you won't be able to play this in Bulgaria." And I'm always like, I'm fine with that, I guess.
It feels like it's always somewhere in Eastern Europe where there's currently a strongman operating, which is why I'm on the record as anti-strongman because it's pulling our podcast down.
Honestly, listenership in Turkey has been plummeting lately.
Precisely.
That's devastating. That's devastating.
That's why you got to join forces with us for Timbtle of the Dog, because we are number 156 self-help podcast in Estonia.
Not all the Baltic states can hang, but Estonia.
They get it. Estonians get it.
Yeah.
This is a very special mashup episode of Text Me Back, me, Lindy West, and Meagan Hatcher-Mays, and our friends. Would you like to say hello?
Sure.
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm
it's,
Andrew.
and it's Luke Burbank.
I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry if I feel like that was a weird start, but I have mixed feelings about this, and I can explain why briefly.
Go on.
Is it? Were you suspicious that I forgot your names?
No. Although,
I was.
if you did, good cover.
Nice. Well done.
We recently had a TBTL event where I was chatting with some of the listeners, and one of them explained that they were driving their kids somewhere, and the kid said, I'm almost at the point where I can tolerate TBTL. And this was at the end of an episode, so this person said, oh, well, also I have a Text Me Back, and they played Text Me Back, and the kid was like, I am sold.
That's
like,
right.
So I feel like somehow algorithmically you stole a young a young promising listener from us because your podcast is better.
Fast forward 20 years, Estonia's got a new strongman. Kid.
I mean, our show is beloved by children. We've talked about this before because Lindy loves all the stuff that 13-year-olds love.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs, snakes,
Castles.
wizards, castles. Yeah. And so kids are like, ooh, I love Text Me Back.
We sing silly songs.
It's true.
I will say we owe you a thank you. We have at least not just one new listener, but one new supporter, Christine, I believe, in Seattle,
Yes.
who donated
Talking
to
donor,
the
baby. Hold on.
TBTL-a-thon, our last fundraiser, and actually said, I got here through Text Me Back, and then I started listening to these bozos, and now they're supporting the show, so thank you.
Christine,
Way to
that's
go,
so
Christine.
nice.
That's so cute. I love that. You better be subscribed to our Patreon.
Yeah, right?
OMG.
I think we-
Patreon.com/textmebackpod.
I think we got a lot of we scraped a lot of listeners off of you guys.
I'm not surprised. I just
Spawn
hope
scum.
that we retain at least a few of them and we gain a few Text Me Back fans.
Yeah, but it's really more about the friendships that we made along the way with each other.
That's what they're saying.
Even though you didn't remember our name.
With my two new close friends, Alex
These
and
guys.
Lonnie. Lars.
Hey, dude. Hey, guy.
Hey, guy.
Hey, my
Oh my gosh! When was the last time I saw you?
Look who it is.
Are you still up to the same old stuff, my guy?
What are you doing with yourself these days?
What is the longest that you've ever made it? Like the deepest you've got into a conversation with someone who you just have no earthly idea before they reveal something that then like unlocks the thing? Because I feel like I've been 20 minutes in and then been like, oh, poker.
Yes, easily 15 or 20 minutes. Something came to mind immediately when you said that. I had to speak at a press conference, and this person came, and I recognized her face, but I couldn't remember her name or where I knew her from or anything about her or how I recognized her, nothing. And I was like, and she was like, hey, Meagan, hi. And I was like, girl, what's up? And I was like, well, how have you been? What's going on? But I felt like I couldn't ask her, what are you up to these days? We were at a press conference together for work. So I couldn't be like, where do you work?
Right?
She wouldn't know that I forgot. So then I was just sort of like peeking over everyone's shoulders to see if anyone had a run of show so I could try to put it together.
Smart.
But then I realized that she was subbing for someone else. So she wasn't on the agenda. And I was like, oh my God, I am fucked. I will never figure out who this person is. And I'm just going to have to keep being like, isn't this great? The two of us together.
They said it would never happen, and
Yeah.
here we are.
And then she finally said something like, oh yeah, Carla couldn't make it. Carla is the other person who was supposed to be there. And I was like, yes, I remember you from the happy hour. I remember where you work and I know why you're here. And I was like, wow, we got out of there by the skin of our teeth. At any minute, someone was going to ask me who that person was. And I was going to have to be like, you know each other.
Do you
Right?
have the understanding, as I have tried to establish with various significant others? And yes, I've had various significant others. I'm just like,
this
look,
guy has significant others.
if we are somewhere and I introduce you to someone, please, for the love of God, get their name.
Yes.
Like, this is the main reason that we partner up with people is for this very moment.
I know. And yet there I was all alone looking at this woman like, shit. But we got there. We figured it out.
And is this person going to listen to this podcast?
Absolutely not. No.
Great.
Carla is, though.
Carla is. Well, that's
yeah.
why I didn't use her real
Classic
name. I was
Carla.
like, what if she does? And she sucks too. But she won't.
Okay.
May I tidings with the tiding that absolutely no one cares about
Yes.
except me, which is what's going on with my pans?
Oh, wait, yes, but before you do that,
before
we gotta-
you do that-
you got to intro tidings. So,
Oh, I thought we
because-
already did that.
No, we just talked
Okay.
about how we were going to do it.
Oh, okay.
So on Text Me Back, we have our flagship segment. It's called Tidings, which is where we talk about
Yes.
what's going on.
What's up?
What's up, guys? So that's what we're going to do now. We did it last time. It was a huge hit. And we have a couple of new little special bonuses that accoutrement that come along with our tidings. Now, Meagan, would you like
Yes.
to tell?
I was going to say much has changed since the last time we were on the show. Before it was merely tidings. Now we have a bespoke tune that was composed for us by a man with a PhD in composition. How do you like that? He's like a doctor of German Lutheranism, German
fun.
choral music or something. And he got all of his little choral friends to sing it for us. And here's the song.
Also, he did not compose it.
No, he didn't compose it. I'm sorry.
Gerg Frankchik Handel composed it.
Oh,
You're familiar.
like
during-
the Messiah?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of Handel's Messiah, but it's like a B-side. and then
He arranged it. I'm sorry.
He arranged
Yes.
it, and
Yes.
he organized a choir of like 20 people, and they sang it on Zoom so that we could use it without violating anyone's copyright. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's a
And
feedback
that's
guarantee.
why you're still on in Bulgaria.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Smart decisions like that.
Yes, the handle estate very litigious in Bulgaria.
In Bulgaria specifically, yes.
So,
But I have been waiting months, Luke.
You
What
can't
is
handle the
with
truth.
these hands? My goodness.
Sorry.
I can't handle waiting one more second to learn about your pans.
Well, okay. To the absolutely nobody who asked about this, last time we were all together on the show, I feel like I really took up a lot of the oxygen with discussing these Instagram-based, allegedly nonstick pans that I had purchased. That when they came in the mail, I was reading the directions to you all, and the directions were extremely involved. Because these were stainless steel. They looked very cool, and they were listed as being nonstick. But they, in point of fact, when I actually tried to use them, were, I think, stick. Like, I don't actually even understand the design advantage of something that anything sticks to it. You look at it, and like, you know, like your eyelash sticks to it. It's like, what? And I went around. It's right. Like, so I went around and around with them. So I guess my point is, when I was with you all reading those directions, I was having a laugh because I thought this is so silly. And your advice, the advice from you three, and the advice that I took was ignore all of the directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my normal way of being in the world. And like starting Tidings before we've even played the music. I'm a renegade. I'm a rebel, a loner, Dottie.
Yeah.
And so I proceeded to ignore all of the directions, and it proceeded to be a massive shit show. None of the food was cookable. Everything was magnetically attached to the pans. Destroyed everything.
Oh,
And then I
no.
couldn't get the pans clean because there was like the food had encrusted. It adhered in such a serious way that it was like could not be removed. So I start emailing the help desk, and I'm like, hey, this is not working. And they literally went through point by point. But did you do this? And I lied. I was like, yes. They're like, but did you do this? And I was like, of course. Are you
I
crazy?
did.
Was
Connie,
the water dancing but not jumping in the pan?
from your mouth to God's ears. I mean, that was literally the conversation, point by point. And I lied through my teeth and said
Yeah.
that I had done every single thing. And I was asking them if I could just please. Oh, this was the other key thing that I had sort of missed. My girlfriend, I had asked her, have you heard of these pans? And she said, yeah, my mom has one and she loves it. What she had failed to tell me was her mom had the non-stick kind. The kind that's
geez.
coated in a non-stick surface
Yes.
or whatever.
The normal
So-
kind.
A normal,
So you're talking to the customer service,
yes,
doing an elaborate dance that
yes.
many call Lindy at the dentist. Yes, I have.
I'm giving him the old Lindy at the dentist.
Yes, every
And-
day. I do. Yes, I do wear my retainer every day. I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I don't know. I can't
I
be
be
blamed.
flossing.
And so I then realized I don't want these. I want the non-stick kind. I just want the regular. And the ones that I had purchased were, I'm not kidding, roughly double the price of the non-stick ones. And I said, may I please send you these expensive ones back, and may I receive in return the less expensive ones
That work.
And that work. And they sent me this real weird response that was sort of like, well, we're not able to exchange pans that are out of different categories. And I was like, oh, you mean the category that people are trying to send back?
Right.
A lot. Like, and this was the part of the transaction and the sort of exchange where I started attaching this email signature that I only use to try to low key threaten people.
Yeah.
Oh, does this involve your daytime Emmys?
It might. A JPEG. Excuse me, I don't know if everyone can see this. A JPEG of 2 daytime Emmys. But I literally started including this auto signature that says media stuff I tend to do. And then lists my kind of little jobs in the hope that who's ever reading it will be like, maybe we should start trying to help this person. Like I can't bring myself to fully go like, I'm going like, do you know who I am? Because first of all, I'm not anybody, but I can't bring myself to overtly threaten to shit talk someone, but I can definitely leave the threat looming via, and it worked because right when they were about to just say sorry, we can't help you, somebody else jumped into to the discourse and said, hey, you know what? We're going to do this one-time offer where we're going to send you the replacement pans. And I said, great. Where should I send the stainless steel ones? And they said, as a one-time offer, you can keep them.
And never mention it on the morning show
on
that
the
you work on sometimes.
Love the Dog podcast. But anyway, that's the updates. We're all good. And by the way, the nonstick pans work great. Would recommend.
Well, wait, what did you do with the pure stick pans?
The pure stick pans, TM. I gave them to my girlfriend, who is such a sort of soothsayer in the kitchen that I figured if anybody can make these pieces of S work, it's probably her.
And?
No updates.
Okay. By the way,
hasn't returned my calls in 3 weeks.
Not on speaking terms.
By the way, I do that, except like out of nowhere, I'll just start calling my signature will be Meagan Hatcher Mays Esquire. And I'll put my New York bar number in my signature.
Thank you.
It's so heinous.
No, it's
but
not.
When you want a refund from an auto subscription service, it could help.
On my email signature it says Lindy West, the Bravery Award, 2016 Seattle Storm. Bravest Community Woman Award. And people are like, what? You got to stand, you stood up in the box and you got and ate crudité near disgraced former Mayor Jenny Durkin? I say, yes.
They say, where can we send the pans?
I'm brave enough to try to return this item long after the window has expired.
That's my bravery.
You've been dining out on your relationship with Swin Cash since 2015. Lindy.
Okay, I have a question, Luke. I've received an email from you with that email signature. So now that I know that's what you use to intimidate and manipulate and coerce.
Well, let me clarify even further, just in case we haven't driven out the last few listeners from the text about people that are like, really, again with these guys? It's because I have different computers. Like I have the computer I'm talking to you on. One of them somehow is doing the auto signature and one is not. So when the one that I am using, the laptop I carry around, for some reason, it doesn't do it automatically. So I have emailed you from a computer that was autoed. I was not trying to big dog you or send a message.
Please.
It is truly the thing that I sometimes have to, it has to be a proactive decision sometimes, and sometimes it's not. And this was a very proactive decision to try to flex in front of the Caraway Pan Company.
Well, it worked, whether you're trying to do it or not.
Here we are.
I'll do anything. Please, mister. Don't talk about me.
Not the Emmys. Not the Emmys.
Don't throw me in that Emmys patch, sir.
Good tiding, Luke.
Thank you.
That was a really good tiding. Here's my question about nonstick pans. Surely every pan starts as a stick pan, and then probably a robot in a factory goes, sprays it in 2 seconds
with PFAS, which the thing we're all now trying to avoid, which is how I got kind of like hornswoggled into this whole other way of living, which was stainless steel pans, because I had literally just listened to an episode of The Daily about forever plastics.
Well, that was your first mistake.
They caught me in a vulnerable moment.
Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a businesswoman and I'm an entrepreneur and I'm always looking for a market share. And so this got me thinking just now, okay, you know how there's like a guy that started a business that was like, I fix McDonald's ice cream machines because they're always broken and McDonald's won't. Yeah. And then McDonald's like sued him and it was a whole thing. That's not relevant to my story. Can we start a business called We've Got the Little Spray Can? And you bring us your pans and we'll go shh. And then you got a nonstick pan? Yeah.
Is that how
Has
it works?
this ever happened to you? Just holding a pan with a pork chop just like fused to it.
I was going to say, how many pork chops are fused to the pans that you gave your girlfriend? And were you ready to send them back to the company?
It's
I had
completely
gnawed on them.
constituted of salmon skin at this point, and you're like, here you go, my love.
Well, that's where I also get into this like very kind of dark art of seasoning. Like, I don't know what the difference between seasoning and not cleaning a cooked surface
Nobody does.
sufficiently.
I know.
Nobody
You know,
knows.
it's so cool that you brought that up because it's a perfect segue into my tiding. Can I do mine?
Please.
Mine involves a pan. And so here we go. But it does. And it involves the art of seasoning and questions thereof. And so I was away. My entire family was away for the weekend, this past weekend. And so we needed someone to come watch our dog. And my younger daughter, stepdaughter, who is 20, has been begging for years. She's been like, I really want to come to the cabin because this is like an old family property. So like my kids grew up coming here. Now they're adults. And my younger daughter was like, I really want to come out there with my friends sometime. And her older sister has done that, like come out with a couple of friends, like laid in a hammock, went swimming, did crafts, found the decapitated seal on the beach and brought home its skull, things like that. So finally this opportunity arose where I was like, hey, do you want to come dog sit, take care of our golden retriever Barry for the weekend? You can bring your friends, you can have a little cabin weekend. And she was like, yes. And I was like, great, because I have no other solution. I don't want to pay to board this dog, and this is great. Win-win.
Although you could take the dog to the greatest named dog babysitter ever who's roughly in your area, right? Dog Townsend. And it's where I used to take my dog when I lived kind of roughly in the part of the world you
Not
live.
roughly.
Oh, sorry.
Boo.
Okay, that's actually a hot tip because I do need a dog boarding place somewhere near here, so I will be going because there's one closer and it has bad reviews. It's
I know the
like-
one you're talking
it's
about.
like,
I've been to them
"They
both.
Killed my dog.
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't want to take him to. They killed my dog.
2 stars, though. Somehow still 2 stars.
It was clean. It was clean.
So my younger daughter, for some reason, I'm avoiding using her name. I don't know why. It just feels right. So let's call her Geraldine. So Geraldine.
Ferraro?
Yes. I'm her mommy. So Geraldine Ferraro is like, oh, please, I would love to do it. So I was like, great. And so I left for the weekend. She came out with her friends on Friday. I got back Sunday night, which was last night. Now, I used to have parties out here when I was in my 20s. And we were stupid as hell, you know? Mm-hmm. We had many mishaps.
Yes.
People were careless and drunk, and I get it. And my mother was very mean to me about it. And she would come out afterwards and she would do a white glove test on everything, and then she would torture me about being a bad daughter. And so I do not want, because like one time I forgot to wipe down the countertops.
I'm sorry. There was one time, I think it was over the 4th of July weekend, and we all set off like fireworks in your gravel driveway. And there's like little bits of firework paper all over the gravel driveway. And you were like, we have to get every scrap. We were out there just picking up in between every tiny piece of gravel. You're like, Ingrid won't like this.
She will not like this.
She will not like it. And I think we got him. We
did. We did.
Yeah.
And then about 20 years later, I told her about that. She was like, oh, they would have just melted when it rained. It was just like tissue paper. It was, like she like didn't care. And I was like,
we just burst into tears. Like, really?
So I don't want to perpetuate the cycle of violence with my child. However, I returned home last night and I immediately became my mother, and I went everywhere in the house and I looked at everything and I took pictures of everything. And I became Sherlock Holmes. Shirley Holmes, because I'm a girl. And I was like piecing together like the timeline of what must have happened, because it doesn't seem like anything catastrophic has happened. However, everything is weird. Everything in the whole house is weird. And everything's a little bit gross. And I'm like, what did you do? What were you touched everything in the house? The house is huge. How did you do this? Why is like everything is just weird, just a little wrong, put back a little weird, a little dirty, a little slimy, a little sticky, and it's like I just don't understand. Like, why you can't just sit on the couch and like smoke weed and go in the hot tub? You were like, a thing that I think I've pieced together is I think they went around the entire house and took every couch cushion, every throw pillow, every bed pillow, every blanket, and they must have like made a nest or something because every pillow is in the wrong place.
It's just they touched everything.
They touched everything.
Every picture frame, every salt and pepper shaker.
Yes!
The kitchen table is 1 inch shorter for some reason.
That's exactly the vibe. It's like we're on a 80s sitcom and they're trying to make me think I've gone insane. So anyway, and then there's also just shit where it's like, you didn't even try. You didn't even try. Like, are you kidding? Can you imagine? Do you know what I would have gone through if my mother came out here and I had left the cast iron skillet on the stove encrusted with mystery to the point where like it looks like it's like brown shag carpeting. Just on the stove, crustified, and then I didn't notice it at first because it had a sheet pan sitting on top of it, which was
Smart.
but not smart, because then the sheet pan is like covered in bacon grease, like a thick tsunami of bacon grease, sort of like which is like, how did that get there? And then there's like mud on the wall, a little or poop, or I don't know, or like and
There's
then
like 4 carcosas, just small ones, tied and left around.
Anyway, so I've been doing detective work, and I'm trying to decide how to handle it. Like, is she in trouble? She did technically dog sit, which is what I asked her to do. The dog's alive. Mm-hmm. You know, I washed the pan. It's fine. It just feels a little bit like, I guess here's my takeaway. The thing about, and this is also partly why I wanted to bring this up, is because Luke, you also have an old kid.
Yeah.
And I get out here and I'm like looking around at all this work that I now have to do to finish putting the house back together. And I'm like, doesn't she understand that I'm a kid? I don't want to clean the house.
Yes.
I'm just a baby.
I'm like you. So you just are making you do it? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like a mom.
I'm your peer.
Why
are you doing this to me?
This is offensive to me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, most of my being a parent of now a 30-year-old person in the world is realizing that I am allegedly the adult in the situation, and
That's what they say.
And that just breaks my heart every time I realize it, because I'm like you, Lindy. I don't think of myself as being 48 years old, and I don't think of myself as being the adult decision maker in these kinds of situations. When my kid was in high school, had a similar situation, except I had not authorized any kind of a get together at my house, but I was out of town or something, and when I came home, one of the bathrooms was locked from the inside, but there was no one in it. Which is like, okay, cool. You had Chris Angel here?
My freak.
It's like, what? And then also, the entire sink was just full of in the kitchen was just full of like grotesque standing water.
Oh my God.
Which was the result I figured out when I reached in there of just, I don't know, uncooked like kernels of corn and just like stuff that had plugged it up. And I remember saying to my child, who, by the way, has turned out to be an exceptional 30-year-old, but this was a tough time for us. I said, what happened with the sink? And she goes, what? It's not like we poured concrete down there. And I was like, is this your defense?
That's where you set the bar. That is such a good bar
you
to
didn't
set.
pour dry concrete into my kitchen sink and then fill it with water. You didn't do that, so I should not be able to bring this up at all as a topic.
We should celebrate you, in fact.
What a weird go-to.
What a brave kid.
I feel
should
like
win a
she did
bravery
pour
award.
concrete down there. That
Yeah,
was her admission.
The most suspicious thing that I found in my investigation is that there's a giant bottle of carpet stain remover on the left out on the kitchen counter. So now I'm like trying to figure out where the stain was.
If there's a bottle of luminol out, you need to run.
So far, I have not found the stain, which is like scarier, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But so I don't think she's in trouble. She did I would give it a 2 out of 10 cleanup job. You know, like not well executed. Clearly, like 5 hungover 20-year-olds did it because they were in a hurry to get home. But
there was a nod. There was a nod to the idea of a responsibility. Like it wasn't. Sounds like it wasn't well executed, but there was a baseline understanding.
that's true.
That we cannot lock somehow the bathrooms and then like a apparition go through the smoke vent.
Okay. Here's the thing I want your opinion on. So the 2 things I want your opinion on are like, should I send her a picture of the dirty pan and be like, really? And like guilt her because I've been controlled by guilt and shame and I don't like it. So I don't want to perpetuate the cycle, but also really, but question 2, she texts me on the Saturday and she's like, does the front door ever just not open for you guys? Like, is the front door broken because it won't open sometimes, even when it's unlocked and I have to go around to the side door? And I was like, no, that's never happened. That's weird. And then I get home and indeed I try to open the front door and go in and it won't open. The like latch is like broken. And so then I'm like, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, but I have a devious mind. And if one of my jackass friends had somehow broken the door, I would have done a subterfuge and been like, hey, Mom, is the door broken or something? Like, you know what I mean? To like plant the seed.
Yes.
But
1,000% that's what she did.
You think?
Yes.
Wait, but let me just push back a little bit there. I gotta say, of all of the, let's call them party fouls, like a broken door latch.
Yeah,
like
but if
that
I were
seems
her,
like wear
I would
and tear.
No, if I were her, I would think that's the thing that's most logistically complicated to solve. I would think, oh God, that's going to involve calling a guy. The rest of the stuff in her mind,
But
she
what
probably
were
was like,
they
the rest of the
doing,
stuff we
though?
can clean up. This we don't have the capacity to fix, so this is the worst one.
Were they
That's
playing
my
party
guess.
door though? Like what were they doing?
Yeah,
Were
I
they
don't
doing
know.
like bongs off of
you
the
know,
doorknob?
Because that's what I would have thought too. When I was 20, I would have been like, this is the thing that I'm going to get in the most trouble for.
Yeah.
Because in reality, that would be the thing that you would get in it is probably wear and tear. If it did break in their care, it would have been because it's 25 years old.
They pushed it the last 5% of the way towards that.
Correct.
Right.
And really, like, the thing that you are in trouble for is this, oh, no, wait, I forgot about the greatest crime of all. Excuse me. The pan, very bad. However, last night I get home, I drove 5 hours yesterday. I was in Oregon. I drive all the way home. All I want for my dinner is a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh boy.
I look in my cupboard. I just bought a fresh box right before I left.
Oof.
I look up in the cupboard. By the way, cereal these days, you know how expensive that is?
It's like $7.
$7 for a bottle of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
And to her credit, I had said, Geraldine Ferraro, you eat anything you find in this house. That is fine. And I stand by that. However, if you eat the entire box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, don't put it back empty in the cupboard so that when your mom gets home, she opens it, she says, there's my dinner. goes about her business. She finally settles down. She's like, yum, 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 time for mommy's treats. Empty bag, inside box, put back in cupboard.
I think there was a single toast.
There was one crunch
Yeah, it's one crunch.
in the bottom.
Damn. They got your ass.
They got my ass. I mean, this is karmic justice for sure. Because like I
It
did
is.
all these things.
Yes.
Like, oh,
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
want
you
to.
did.
I don't want to deal with like throwing away the bag, collapsing the box. So there's, I could argue it's not gone. There's one.
There's one left. There's one left. I think this is karmic justice because you had parties at your house. I think it's safe. I think the statute of limitations is passed. I think we can talk about this. But you, of course, had the infamous party at your house where I spilled an entire thing of Hormel chili all over your mom's white carpet. And then I think that was the same party where when your parents came back, they found a high-heeled boot in your mom's planter box.
Yeah.
And I think,
One boot.
if I recall correctly, she didn't talk to you about it directly. She just brought it in. It was just like you came home and it just was on the kitchen table. And she goes, I found your friend's boot.
Yeah, and I remember actually, it was this guy that I hate.
Yes.
Like,
He still sucks, by the way.
He fucking sucks. He sucks
Yeah.
worse now than he did then.
That's
and
true.
he had brought this random girl to my party who
Some
like
Garfield bulldog that you're.
The
speaking
girl
of?
was not a Garfield bulldog.
she-
we
Your
don't know where she
nemesis,
came
though?
from.
my
She could
nemesis
have been
was
a Quaker.
She's probably. I was gonna say she's probably a Franklin Quaker.
my nemesis was a Garfield bulldog. He brought this girl. I remember they were trying to leave and she couldn't find her boot. And we were like, I can't be in charge of your boot, ma'am. Ma'am,
I can't be
your
responsible.
boot is your responsibility. And then later it wasn't like the next day, it was like the next season. It was like encrusted with mud. And anyway, so karma.
I feel like also, Lindy, how much your daughter and what age she's at in terms of taking care of her own where she lives, and I don't know what her living situation is elsewhere, but in my experience with my child, as soon as she started having to buy her own Cinnamon Toast Crunch, things just changed radically. Like, and I think we all experienced that, right? It's like when you go from being a young person who doesn't have a lot of responsibility in the world to being the person who has to wash the encrusted, or some call it seasoned, cast iron skillet. Just a few rounds of that really just shifts your perception of the world. At least it did for me.
And I think if I had to diagnose this group of children, adults, I would guess that they all still live with their parents. My daughter lives with her mom. So because they left about 14 beef franks in the fridge. They left a massive container of Wingstop Ranch, like probably
Actually,
a
that's
quart.
primo.
Yeah. They left a case of Mr. Beast alcoholic energy drink. They left like a very...
Nobody makes it like Mr. Beast, though. I mean, you have to admit that.
Only-
YouTuber from North Carolina has really cracked the code on both cookies and energy drinks.
Sorry, but only Monster energy drinks made in the Mr. Beast region can be called Mr. Beast Monster energy drinks. The rest are just sparkling.
Thank you.
a very and then I'll end my interminable tiding, but the cutest thing they left in the fridge is a very ambitious 2 packages of heads of romaine lettuce and a bottle of Caesar dressing. That, like, come on, you guys, you weren't.
That was never going to happen.
It's never gonna happen. But like, these are not children who are paying their own money for these groceries. Because if I had 14 hot dogs in my possession, you try to get those hot dogs out of my hands.
I'm eating every last one.
That's like a month's salary for 14 hot dogs. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So thank you to Geraldine Ferraro's friend's parents for feeding me for the next 2 weeks.
Nice.
Okay. Those are going to last 14 days. Only one hot dog per
One
day?
hot dog
That's
a day?
crazy. You need the protein, Lindy. Think about the macros. Speaking of macros, I would like to talk about my tiding, which is about athletes. Something is happening in the world right now. I don't know if you're aware. It's called the Olympics. And I don't even really care for sports that much. I grew up watching sports. I was really into the Sonics. Then the Sonics stopped existing, and as far as I know, the NBA went with it. I don't think there is an NBA anymore. Does anyone
Not
know?
that I've heard of. That doesn't look like anything to me.
I won't be confirming. Anyways, and then I got into football for a while. I watched football for like 10 years, and I really loved it, especially when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And then I felt like it was too racist to keep watching. You know what I mean? Like it just.
Yeah.
I think Jerry Jones said something like, "Well, if we give the players a raise, it's like letting the prisoners run the prison." And I was like, "No, goodbye. I
Well,
can't
the
watch
thing
this."
though is, it's not just racist.
Yes.
It's terrible on a lot of different
Yes,
levels.
it's also homicidal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But mostly I don't really watch sports. But then the Olympics come around, and I turn into sort of a nationalist psychopath that cannot be reined in. I cannot be stopped. I am become Toby Keith. You know what I mean? Like, I'm standing in front of a mission accomplished sign on an aircraft carrier, and I'm like preying on the downfall of other nations. I'm like, I hope China falls off the beam. I'm like, what? Oh no, that girl's only 14. And I'm like, I hope that German surfer's ass gets exposed in the water. I'm just kidding. I did not wish that, but it did happen. I don't know. I saw that guy's ass.
I keep seeing that, and I'm like, is that real? And then I don't want to fact check it because in case it's not, but it is.
Yes.
It's
His
so
whole ass.
funny. It's the funniest still image of
Face
anything.
down, ass up.
That's the way we like to surf.
That's the way he liked to surf.
You know
So
what? Okay, now that I know that that's real and it really happened in the Olympics, you know what that makes me think, Megan?
good.
That I'm proud to be an American because at least I know I'm free.
I was just
You
thinking
know?
that. I was actually just sitting here wanting to thank the men who died who gave that right to me. Do you know what I
To
mean?
see that guy's whole ass crack from the front all the way around to the top.
Something about the Olympics just makes me like want to go to war literally. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just like wanting to start international conflicts with people. It's so crazy because like America's fine. I like it okay.
Yeah.
I don't really care. It's not like I have like a flag in my house or like in front of my house or on my car or anything. But when it's the Olympics, it's like, you better watch your back, France.
If you put like the letters GER into Google, it just goes German surfer butt. I was looking it up on my phone. This is a real thing. It's the number one
so
thing
funny.
people are currently searching for.
So now I'm just sitting around my house just getting into like wild sports. Like yesterday I watched canoe slalom.
Oh, that's fun.
It's so fun. And I was like, oh my God, she missed. And I become an expert in these things. I'm like, I can't believe the reigning champ missed the gate. Oh, you hate to see it. You do. And I'm like, what? Who the fuck am I? Who do I think I am? I'm like, she should have picked up speed around the second gate. Wow, big mistake from Australia there. You hate to see it. It's so weird. And then it's over and it's like the fever breaks.
Yeah.
And I have amnesia about that whole period of time until 2028 when I'm like, I'm going to kill Japan.
That bitch from Kazakhstan who's had it so good.
I was watching men's gymnastics earlier today. By the time this airs, everyone will know the outcome. But the men's gymnastics team won a bronze. It's the first time we've won a medal in like 16 years or something because our men's team really sucks. They let men play sports. I'm just now realizing this. And sometimes they're okay at it. Yeah, you know. It's really, it's
Did
cute.
you? I've only very, very briefly dipped into the Olympics this year, which is weird because I kind of love the Olympics because the NBC does whoever's has it in the particular year, but this year I think it's NBC. Like they do such a great job of just like telling this kind of inspiring story about a person who is doing a sport, like you said, Megan, that I didn't even know was a sport an hour previous, and now I'm deeply invested in it. But the one thing that I did see just flipping the channels was there was a guy from the U.S. Who was doing the pommel horse Or what's the?
That's what I was going to tell you about.
Oh, okay.
So he's a pommel horse specialist. All
Yes.
he does is pommel horse. They brought him on the team especially as a ringer on the pommel horse, on the pea horse. And he's a dork. And he wears glasses.
Okay.
And he's a huge freaking nerd. And he helped them win the medal today. It was so sensational. Like, everyone was like, oh my God, he's had high profile failures on the pea horse in the previous world competitions. And I was like, don't put that out into the universe. This nerd is carrying the hopes of his whole country on his enormous, very svelte, sculpted shoulders.
Do you know who he looks like, Lindy? He looks like Medicated Pete from the Howard Stern Show. Exactly like Medicated Pete. And the thing that's incredible is he clearly very much needs his glasses.
Yes.
But he takes them off. And then he finds his way over to the pommel horse. He does not wear them when he's pommeling.
No. And he doesn't have contacts. It's like he has like an emotional support gymnast take him to the pommel horse.
Can't he get a croaky strap?
It's amazing.
I mean, yeah, it shows you how much that's about, I guess, muscle memory and just practice and stuff. Because I just happened to see, like, I saw it very briefly, and he was like, they showed his parents, and it really looked like his mom had just woken up for this, which I also loved. Like, they just seem like really normal folks, maybe a little bedraggled. And then he had these glasses that he then again took off before he does the hardest thing of his life that involves putting his hands in super particular places, and then he just killed it.
He did.
Can I
It was
just
stunning.
Can I just clarify one thing really quick? Alex and I actually have glasses, and we
Oh, just realized you're talking about me.
yeah.
Oh, it's Alex, right?
And we're,
Yeah, sure.
and
Oh,
we're
God.
and we're
I have
cool, and we're cool.
Yeah.
Hang on,
Okay.
I have
Yes,
I have
absolutely.
glasses too. I've been waiting to use these for a bit. Okay, what were you guys talking about?
Wait, do I look unclothed right now? Actually, glasses.
For people who are only listening, I'm not sure what happened. Meagan suddenly
on
looked like
glasses.
Meagan just got 200 times hotter. I don't know.
So crazy. She became a pommel horse specialist
Yeah.
in the last
Yes.
10, 15 seconds of putting her glasses on.
are
Anyway, it was just
those?
beautiful. If you think I watch men's gymnastics for a single moment outside of like the 2-week span of the Olympics every 4 years, get a grip. I absolutely don't. But something about it, I was like, yes. And he did it for his country, my country, the blessed United States of America. It's like disgusting how I get.
Isn't it? Maybe it's not weird. Maybe it's exactly how the rules should be. But like the fact that Russia is not allowed to officially be in it, but there can be people from Russia.
Yeah.
But if they win, they can't play the Russian national
Yeah.
anthem.
They
It's like,
have-
what kind
they're
of
called-
shadow banning is that?
I know. Well, in the past, they were busted because of they loved drugs, and they loved to dope, and so they were competing under a different name. It was like the International Federation, or I forget exactly what the name was. And this time, they are banned because of war crimes
'Cause of
in
Ukraine.
and so now they're competing as like just like a rogue band of individual athletes, and I think they all just sort of like wear their own jerseys. They don't even have a name, and if they
They
win,
survive in the Los Angeles underground. If you can find them.
yeah, that's right, the sewers and tunnels of underground Paris.
I would say that the greatest story around doping involves the Chinese swim team from, I think, 2 Olympics ago, where they all tested positive for this incredibly specific drug that is banned. But it was on the nation of China to go investigate how it had happened. And then they went to the Airbnb where the team was staying, and they said the hood vent in the kitchen had high levels of this specific
Yeah.
masking drug. And as somebody
yeah.
who's failed a few UAs, I got to tell you, I am amazed that story flew, but it did.
Well, it doesn't
Lindy, have you
always
checked
happen.
Yeah, they hired my daughter to come up with that.
Lindy just left the chat. She's going to check the hood vent.
Yeah.
It's like every time I go on vacation, I get bulked the fuck up.
Right.
And I become like just a world champion weightlifter every time I go on vacation.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I did, one of the things I found on my Sherlock Holmes hunt is some little white pills all over the bathroom floor that someone had spilled, and I was like, oh boy, now I'm gonna have to make this into an incident. And then I was like, I had to take off my glasses because now I'm elderly. And then I was like, I'm gonna look up what these tablets are. It's gonna say like Oxy, I don't know. And then it was Claritin.
But was it Claritin D? Because that's
I don't think so.
meth.
I think it was achoo! I have a little allergy to the dog fur.
There are also these pills, some of them in the shape of dinosaurs. Some look like Barney Rubble. I wasn't exactly sure what those are either. Had to look them up.
Oh my God, it's PCP! So that's my tiding. I'm addicted to the Olympics. And then I can't not mention Celine Dion, of course, performed at the opening ceremonies. And I'd like to say this about Celine Dion. I would like to donate my neurology to Celine Dion. She has a rare neurological disorder that makes it difficult for her. Stiff person syndrome. It makes it difficult for her to sing. And I'm like, I'm not even using my neurology. And I'm trying to hear those beautiful pipes, babe. You can have it. You can have it. I don't need them. I love her so much. And here's what I'd like to say. This might be controversial, but I am biracial. My mother is black and my dad is white. And the whitest thing about me is I would take a bullet for Celine Dion. I'm obsessed with her. Something about her is everything about her is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's like she's a very talented singer. She's also a total fucking wacko, which I love. She's so weird, and she doesn't try to not be weird. I feel like there are other celebrities who are theater kid weirdos who try to act cool. I won't name any of them because I don't want to catch the smoke. But one of them is Taylor Swift, and the other one is Lady Gaga. I think that they are weirdos.
Both with very low key fan bases.
Yes, very low key
fan.
I'm not saying they're
You're in
not
the
talented
clear.
and that I dislike them, but what I am saying is that they're like dorks, but they like, look how cool I am. I have a dress made out of meat. It's like, okay, you nerd, stop it. Whereas Selena's like, I want to rock. I just want to rock, but I can't because I go to bed at 9 p.m. and get 10 hours of sleep. Like, she's so weird, and then she'll do like an air guitar, and it's so embarrassing, and she knows it too. I just think she's so special. I think she's one of our planet's finest babes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think if people aren't aware of the comedy of Celine Dion, you got to just go on YouTube and you got to watch some supercuts because this woman has never met a talk show appearance that she didn't
Freaking nail.
That's not what I was that's not what I was reaching for, but I meant more like turned into a freaking circus of,
you know what, like he's like the Robin Williams of balladeering. like she'll go on to the Today Show and be like, Oda, are you okay? And then she'll sing like a Peanut Butter and Jelly song, like, and everyone's like, what's happening? And it's very much giving Robin Williams manic episode, except she is Celine Dion.
She's like,
you know,
she's like pinballing around.
Yeah.
But in a pinball machine made of like French Canadian references, cultural references that, you know, like that don't translate. No one knows what she's talking about. She's loving it. Like she's like nailing the delivery, even if the words that are coming out.
She had Kathie Lee Gifford annoyed. Like, that's what Celine Dion is, you know? Like, Celine Dion was being so insane that Kathie Lee Gifford was like, okay, all right. You know?
Kathie Lee Gifford, who, by the way, I had lunch with once.
What?
Yes, and she...
Put that in your email signature.
Yeah. Power move.
That's the real award. That's the real bravery award. Kathie Lee Gifford reached over to me, and I had lunch with her in my capacity as a journalist. She was in Seattle to promote a play that she had written or something.
Did you write this up in The Stranger? Lynn?
Probably.
Because I have a memory of this.
Yeah,
great.
I went with Brendan Kiley, the theater editor. He was like, "You want to come to lunch with me and Kathie Lee Gifford?" And I was like, "Yes."
Fuck yes.
And then and he wrote about the play. I was like, "Shut up, Kathie, whatever. Just like engage with me. Say something weird." And indeed she did. She at one point reached over the table to me and grabbed the front of my dress and pulled it out and looked down my dress into my cleavage, and she went, Who's down there? Jimmy Hoffa?
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was it Kristen Wiig doing an impression of Kathie Lee Gifford? Because I believe
It was the real Kathie Lee Gifford, and that lady was weirded out by Celine Dion on live TV.
That's what Celine is bringing to the table. Okay.
And that's why Celine renders me speechless when I try to describe her. And so
I know,
you gotta
she's-
go to the video
They've
website.
never touched anything in their lives. Let them touch those things for once.
heavy rotation TBTL drop back in the day.
I love her. I just love her. So
don't you think
that's
that-
my dating.
Don't you think the takeaway from the sort of arc of Celine, how we, at least maybe down here in the lower 48, think of, I don't know how they think of her in Alaska, but down here in the lower, I was trying to say the United States versus Canada, but I don't think Canada considers us the lower 48.
Right. Hawaiians have some ideas that don't
But I
fall in
feel
line with
like
what you're about to say.
I just think that I'm totally with you, Meagan, that the arc of how we think of Celine Dion, maybe you never stopped, like loving her, but I certainly, I mean, the first night we ever did TBTL, we spent an hour with this guy named Carl Wilson, who had written a book called, I forget what the name, but it was one of those 33 and a third books. And it was, he listened to Let's Talk About Love or like a Celine Dion record every day for a year. And he actually wrote about it in a fairly thoughtful way. We, of course, booked it because we thought, like, get a load of this. Someone listened to too much Celine Dion. And it was, I mean, there were so many things about the early days of this show that I regret. But, like, I have totally come around on her, too. And I think it's because she just never changed. And now, there's this documentary out that's about her. And I heard from somebody who watched it that one of the things that comes to light is that Celine Dion loves shoes and footwear and boots and all of it so much that she's on the record as, I think the person interviewing her asked, like, something about, like, well, what if it doesn't fit? And she basically, Celine Dion's approach to shoes that she likes is to just make her foot a different size.
That's correct. She says, what she says is, they ask me, what size do you wear? And I say, no, sir. What size do you have? From size 6 to 10, I will make it work. My journey with Celine Dion is I thought she was a massive fucking cornball for like 20 years. Like, because we were in high school for Titanic and stuff, and that was the only song they let us listen to. That was the only song that was on the radio was My Heart Will Go On. I was like, okay, I get it. Pump the brakes. And then something happened to me where back when I used to have to go in the office, I used to watch like morning shows in the morning while I got ready. And she was like, she put out a new album and she went on all the shows. And so I heard this song of hers like 5 days in a row. And I was like, God, this is corny. And then by day 3, I was like, what do you say to taking chances? And then by day 4, I was like, this song slaps. And by day 5, I was like, I would take a bullet for Celine Dion. She just got me. I don't know what happened. It was like, she just is magical in that way. And I was like, I would die for her. She's amazing.
And then you found out that she's the America's foremost comedian.
I did, yes. But not Canada's.
No. Only in the
she
lower
came here and took
48.
the crown.
In Canada, she's normal as hell. That's just what they're like.
She doesn't even crack the top 100
No.
in Canada. They're like, that's right.
Andrew, your Tidings was also Celine Dion related, right?
It was. No, I would just say for those Americans like myself who are not kind of caught up in the Olympic excitement right now, but you do have a love of country and nostalgia, I will let everybody know that if you go on YouTube and you type in full seasons of Super Password 1984, they're all there. And that's how I've been spending my evenings.
USA.
I do. I chant that quite a bit. I don't know, like, are you guys old enough? Was this on in the house when you were growing up? Because, like, 1984, I'm a kid, and we just had daytime programming on at all times. We like the chatter. And I don't think I realized how much I missed Super Password. And to be clear, I'm not talking about 1960s Password or the 1970s Password Plus. I'm talking about Bert Convy, like mid-80s Super Password. Anybody familiar?
I have no idea what you're talking about, to the point where I feel like you're doing a prank and pretending like this is like a piece of pop culture that everyone knows.
No, I can tell you how I know it's not a prank because this has come up on TBTL before, and what we did on our show was I just played super password like from YouTube, and I would pause it, and Andrew would try to answer it. We did this for an entire episode, and it was hands down one of our best shows, which shows you how low the bar is. Typically.
How do you play? How do you play? I want to try.
I'll tell you how
wanna see
oh
if I
my
can do
gosh,
it.
it's so good. I'm trying to figure out if we can even do this on the fly. Maybe one person can close their eyes, but so there's closing of your eyes involved. We're gonna
Meagan,
need
take
all
off your
of the
novelty
cushions.
glasses.
Hang
We're
on,
gonna need all the
let me put my
cushions.
glasses on. I'm ready.
Okay,
I'm
so
ready.
you can wait. Don't close your eyes yet. I'll explain the
Okay.
rules, and then I'll tell you when you can close your eyes. And this is sounding more and more like a prank the more I talk. Okay, so I'm going to need you to put one hand in a bucket of warm water and one hand in a bucket of cold water.
Put shaving cream in the other.
So we, the audience. Okay, so Bert Convy comes out. He is amazing. He's got kind of a big round head of hair. The set literally moves. I want to say like the design of the set is incredible. I could actually make the argument. I honestly think this is, if you leave Jeopardy out and just sort of say that Jeopardy is its own sort of beast, I honestly think that mid-'80s Super Password is the just quintessential ideal of a talk show. The host comes out, and then he invites his two celebrity guests out. But this is like the mid-'80s daytime programming, and the guests are so C-level. One of them is like third on the call sheet on Trapper John MD. I swear to God, he says Trapper John MD comes out, and it's not the main guy whose name I can't remember. I have no idea who this guy is. And the other guy is who just retired from Wheel of Fortune.
Pat Sajak.
Pat Sajak was one of the other guys. And there'll be a lot of
C-level?
Oh,
Wow.
sorry. Well, he was still getting his start at the time.
He was a weatherman on KTLA at the time, probably.
Yeah,
Which I believe
probably,
was the
yeah.
job he had before Wheel of Fortune.
I think he had some maybe national repute by this point. But anyway, often a lot of like stars from soap operas. And so these are the celebrity guests. And then there are a couple of norms that come out, right? A couple of normal people like you are, the contestants, right?
I was like,
And
like
so-
Norm from Cheers.
Yeah, they're always named Norm. That's the beauty of the show. I'm telling you, they don't make them like this anymore. No, a couple of the contestants come out, and they sit down with whoever their celebrity partner is, and they have to guess what word we're all thinking, and we're all thinking the same word because the show has given us the word. So if the word is, for example, village, it could be something like village. I might say town, and the person might say village, but they might say city. And if they say city, it goes to the other team. And they bounce back and forth until they establish that the secret word was village. That goes up on the board.
Nice.
Then there's another word. And then I think there are like maybe 6 words that each team has to eventually solve. And then there's a main puzzle. Like one of the answers was like Smurf. So like village.
Oh,
blue,
I see.
I don't know, toadstools.
Anti-Semitism.
Papa.
Did we get to the
Israel.
bottom of that on the show?
I don't think- I
that
don't
was a
think
rumor
I
we
don't think the
started and
rumors
ended,
of
right? That the
anti-Sem-
Smurfs
yeah.
were actually anti-Semitic.
I don't think we started it. I don't want to take credit for that. But I like to think.
I feel like I've heard that, and also I think that Gargamel is queer coded.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I could see that.
Just saying.
Yeah, but I will say,
A
like
lot
the
to
game,
unpack.
the game itself is a lot of fun. But I will just say that it's something. I think it might have literally been live to tape. Like I don't think there was any editing because it's so rough around the edges. There are flubs in there. I mean, and it's so chatty, and people are like embarrassing themselves. I really think
Are
that you
people
guys would dig
smoking?
the vibe. No, I don't think. But the little device, they bring out these little devices that the people look down into to get their secret word. It's like it just rings every single bell for me. I highly recommend it. They they crash into the network out sometimes. It's so great.
Dan Rather is like pissed because Bert Convy and
Like,
Susan Lucci were trying to guess.
I'm trying to tell you about the Iran-Contra scandal, but he didn't guess
Bert
village
literally-
in time.
Bert was literally trying to wrap up the show. Oh, the producers yell notes from off stage, but it's not campy. They don't lean into it. They just don't have the budget. And so someone will be like, time. And then Bert will be, oh, we're out of time. Don't go anywhere. I mean, until we're back next week. Bye. And it's like, it's so great. So good.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Tidings.
Can I? So I just had an update to my tiding, which is that my friend Isolde is here.
Wait a sec. Can I play a sound effect for that?
Yes.
If possible.
Please.
Okay.
TBTL breaking news.
We have breaking news, Lindy.
Yes, I have a friend who is staying here doing a little bit of work in our little guest cabin, and so she was here for the party, but it's set back in the woods. All she could hear was some country music sort of blasting, but she has been in the main house with me today, and I've been telling her about all of my findings, and then just now while we were recording, I just looked at my phone. She's texted me that it seems that the 20-year-olds have also left a big turd in the toilet, and she thought that might be good breaking news for the pod. And
She's right. She's
unfortunately, unfortunately, I had to inform her that was me.
Well,
Because
someone's eating one hot dog a day.
because we have some water pressure. We have some water pressure issues in the house. So if you flush the toilet, you can't take a shower for like half an hour. You can't take a shower for like half an hour. So I got up and then I used the toilet, which is a normal human emotion. And then I I closed the lid. I took a shower and I thought I'll flush that as soon as I get out. And then I forgot. And then I had to receive this text from an elegant French friend.
TBTL breaking news.
Can you imagine a French person finding your poop?
Oh,
No.
that's the worst. That is literally the worst nationality, probably. Maybe British. What is the what? Like
Because
the,
they'd be like, "Oi!"
you're going a lot more Cockney than I was thinking.
What's all this then? I just want to say, recognize this.
I just want to say that we've known this woman for 20 years. And she found your dookie.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah. She's a dear friend.
Oh, no.
Well, she was.
How
was.
long, Lindy? How long did you even consider at this point just letting it ride on who she thought had done it?
Yeah.
Yep, I considered it real hard, and then I thought, I'm gonna live in the light, and
Oh, my
That's
face.
such a dangerous game. That's I
know.
play that game. I play that game too much at my house because my dad and I have been working on remodeling my house, and there is an upstairs bathroom that we put in like a little closet, but it's just so that I can go to the bathroom in the middle of the night because I'm getting pretty old and I
Yeah.
don't sleep through the whole night. But I don't want to flush the toilet because it's right next to the room that my dad's sleeping in, and like nothing is insulated. But anytime this happens, I make a note. Hey, make sure you flush that toilet in the morning. And 100% of the time, I've forgotten to do that. It's just like out of butt, out of mind.
out of butt, out of mind. That's what my grandpa used to say.
Oh, God. I'm going to die. Oh, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Another
Cinnamon Toast
successful-
Crunch box does not seem as bad anymore.
Another
Definitely
successful.
not.
No,
such a
I
big deal.
think the children have been absolved, and now I am to blame.
Yeah, you're the prime suspect for a number of things
Way to
at the
go,
property.
Sheila.
Did she send a photo the way you attempted to send a hand photo?
Hopefully she didn't take one. I gotta like bury this in the hole and
The
never.
GHS group chat. She was like, look what I found.
Yeah.
You've hidden it in a place no one will ever find out about it. TBTL. That's where we like to put things that will never make it to the wider world.
Dude, okay, that I almost made that exact joke when you were like talking about the pans and how you're gonna strong arm. It's like you already did your worst.
I know.
You talked about it on your podcast.
And on your more popular podcast, and it did nothing. It did not move any needles anywhere.
There's no way that's true. We may be climbing the rankings in Bulgaria. Okay, but
We may
Let's
be.
end every podcast arguing about whose show is less popular. I'm pretty sure this is where we ended up last time.
I know. We are the 400th most popular breastfeeding podcast in Asia.
I thought we were.
You're 401, baby.
Oh, great.
We were number
The L
3
in TBTL stands for lactation, and that's been really underreported.
Since day one.
Too beautiful to lactate?
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're 184 in South Korea as of today.
184 what? Overall? Or comedy?
Comedy,
Oh.
I guess. Yes.
We got in so early in the days of podcasting, TBTL did, because we were fired from being a radio show due to our breathless Celine Dion coverage.
Makes sense.
And that it was so early in the days of podcasting that there was probably a couple hundred podcasts that were putting out consistently. So we used to we would be in like the top 20. We'd be in these crazy numbers. And it was such a big part of my sense of self-worth. I would just check, refresh. I was like, and then it's amazing how the further we dropped in the rankings, the more bullshit I thought that the podcast rankings were. To the point where if somebody would ever tell me where their podcast was, I was like, nobody even looks at that shit.
Literally not real.
Lindy and I are still in the phase of looking at what is in the top 10 and be like, people listen to this shit?
It's always like Dateline NBC, just the audio.
Right.
Fuck.
It is always that.
Which,
It's Joe Rogan and Dateline, the podcast.
And I'm a Dateline head, but I need to look at Keith's face. I don't want to
100%.
listen to that. Like that's just like a spoiler that ruins my favorite thing. Just the audio, you know?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pass.
Dr. Huberman Lab and Dateline minus the interesting parts. That's the things. Those are the things that are at the echelon of podcasting that I will never ever touch.
know.
As a person who's been doing this for almost 30 years, and it's the entire raison d'etre of my life, and I can't beat just the audio of Keith Morrison.
We're thinking about pivoting to being a Bible podcast because those do really well too. So,
If you ever need a guest, I can throw down.
okay.
I just sent this to Meagan yesterday, being like, can you believe this shit? Because it was like, I got served this in my algorithm on Instagram, and it was like Theo Vaughn, who's constantly in like the top 3, professional comedian, and of course most famous as Road Rules
Yes.
alum,
Correct.
which nobody talks about anymore. And he has
sad.
this podcast. I got served this like clip from his podcast, and it was him talking to Pauly Shore.
No one's gonna know. The kids aren't gonna remember this fucking guy.
Dude, most people can't even see that far. How far can people see usually?
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, like, how far can somebody see?
What is
The
that
average
mean?
sight distance for a person with normal vision is about 3 miles. Get
Wow.
fucked, dude. I thought it was like 70 feet or something.
Why are you asking this question?
I'm not sure exactly, I guess. What were you we were just talking about David Spade, average read.
Oh,
Whatever, man. We'll move it along.
I feel like every Theo Von anecdote is like, we used to have a guy in our town look like McGruff the crime dog. I believe he was a Chinese national. It's just like words in a row that are non-related, but during the pandemic when we all felt so lost, for a number of people it was what they needed to hear. It's the strangest phenomenon.
I feel like I only ever hear him say, like, my dad was old. That's all the only clips I ever get of his.
I just feel like I know comparison is the thief of joy, but I just feel like Meagan and Meagan, Lars, and Alex are out here with our spinning wheels,
Yes.
and we're
Yes.
spinning
We
gold.
are.
I brought a prop.
We're
Jesus.
damaging relationships with our children in service of the content. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the fact that this is kind of a crossover with your show raises the chances my actual daughter, Capitol Hill, Seattle resident, will hear this. Like, usually it's safely tucked away on TBTL, but I'm saying this is what we're willing to do for the content. So
it's
please
'cause
reward us with the smash the like button.
I heard that you guys are big business boys.
We are big business
Somebody
boys.
emailed us and told me that, and because we're business women as well, we're trying to be better business women or BBWs.
Oh my gosh, I'm on your website all the time.
I've been Googling that lately.
Yeah. Whatever you find, that's us. That's us.
Speaking of which, for the TBTL folks, can we talk about the business model of Text Me Back and the Patreon?
Yes, the business model is, please support it. It's independent. Patreon.com/textmebackpod, and follow us on the various social media sites, but especially Instagram. We're on that one the most. That's at textmebackpod.
I'm a follower. It's a good follow.
It's a good follow,
That's
even though
nice.
I've been shirking my social media duties. I'm responsible for it, and every morning I wake up and politics happens to me, and then I go back to bed. So that's why you should support our Patreon, so I can hire a teen to run our Instagram. Patreon.com/textmebackpod. Thank you so much.
And please subscribe to the Patreon because I have to buy a new front door. So
She has to season a cast iron pan, folks.
please.
I was thinking, Lindy, when you were talking about that door thing, and everybody was speculating, I think accurately, that it was broken by the young people, and also that the young people were trying to create a plausible narrative. I was just thinking, at that age, how much did I think a front door or a front door mechanism cost? And I would have come in around $10,000.
All of the money?
Because
Every
I
dollar?
just had no
Right.
concept of what anything cost. Like that's why I'm back to Megan's theory. That's why I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was Andrew's theory, that it was definitely the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that as a kid you don't know how much something like that's just you're not trying to buy that, so you don't know what it costs. So you assume it's thousands of dollars, and you better create a cover story.
Right.
And a ton of work. You would have to, surely you'd have to hire a person to come.
Yeah, you're not
on it.
replacing that. That's not like swapping out the goldfish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But Geraldine, if you're listening, you're not in trouble.
Yeah, you are. You're
no,
busted, sweetie.
No, sweetie.
You're done. You're done, so babe.
Much like Biden dropping out of the race obliterated Trump's assassination attempt, me leaving my shit in the toilet has memory hold anything.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about it.
Who could remember what I was mad about before?
Right.
It just moves so quickly.
I'm in the
these
shame
days.
spiral now.
Absolutely wrested the narrative and the news cycle, I should say, right away from
Yeah.
the kids.
So don't worry
All
about
right.
it.
I was curious how frequently, because I think this is what has just happened here for all of us, because it happens on TBTL all the time. We have like allegedly the structure of our show.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then and it involves like, hey, Andrew, how's it going? And then Andrew often says, I don't have much to talk about today. And then about 1 to 3 hours later, we look up
Correct.
and we have not done any of the top stories or anything
right.
like that. I feel like we didn't get to anything other than Tidings, but that was so much fun. Is that an acceptable episode of the show? What happens over on
It is
Text
for
Me Back?
me. I'm constantly saying we only need to do one segment.
I'm always pushing
Oh.
for like I'm like let's give them 3 because we gotta swing for the fences with the P1s.
Uh-huh.
When
You
we
gotta super
always,
serve
like,
those P1s.
We
Yeah,
should
you gotta
make
sweep
a
the quarter
12
hour.
We should make a 12-hour podcast episode. That's what the people want. And I'm like, I'm just a baby. I don't understand.
The poop has kicked off a shame spiral, which is now expanding into other parts of my life. Did I talk too much during this?
No. Not enough.
I feel like
job.
I'm just sitting here being like, my tiding was boring. I didn't land the
No.
Celine Dion joke.
I did my
Luke barely
always
got to
thing.
talk about his pans.
I just feel
No,
like
I
I don't even.
didn't.
Andrew didn't get to have a tiding, and Luke talked about pans for 5 minutes, and then
No, 5 minutes, 5
Wow,
hours.
somebody's forgetting about my brilliant super password segment.
I thought we were going to guess the password.
Jeez
yeah, we were gonna play a
Louise.
sample game. we got our blindfolds ready.
Okay, do you guys want to play?
Yeah.
Okay, so only one person, I think, I don't know how to do this. I think only one person needs to guess the word, and that person will have to close their eyes. Who wants to be the guesser?
Lindy, maybe?
Yeah,
Megan.
Lindy, you
we
can.
can't tell if Megan's eyes are open
Okay.
or closed.
Yeah,
because of the novelty glasses.
No, I
Exactly.
can't
That's why
tell
I
if
bought the
cheating is
glasses.
going on.
Because
So
I know
smart.
Okay.
I got them for a bit, which we haven't actually done on our show yet. So I want to save
Okay.
the mystery.
Okay, which means I need to come up with a word. It's going to be very mundane, but I am going to write it down. on a piece of paper, legibly this time, and I am going to hold it up to the screen. Everybody just rest for a moment, okay? Okay. I'm worried that I'm making this too difficult. But I've gone through like 4 different words, and I hate all of them, and some of them are 2 words, which I don't think I'm allowed to do.
I can think of so many words, Alex.
Do you know words, Lindy?
How about this one?
Have you worked in that field of words?
I think so.
Okay,
I've
give me
got
one.
such
okay.
a good one. Ugh.
Close your eyes.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Lindy has a good one.
What about this one?
Wait, Lindy has a good word. How
Well,
about
I
how?
wanna
Oh, okay,
guess.
okay, okay. Yep. Okay, did you see it? Did you
I
see?
didn't see it.
Okay.
Okay, close your eyes, Lindy. Okay. Meagan has come up with a great word. We all know what it is. Luke, you give a 1-word clue to Lindy. as to
I
what
had
that
my
word is.
eyes closed when Megan held the
Oh,
word.
you had your. So you don't know what it is either.
Luke
No,
and
that's
I will
actually good.
co-guess. We'll co-guess.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great. So I will give. No, I don't think I should go first. I'm not proving my mettle here. Lindy, you're on Megan's team. I'm on
Okay.
Luke's team. Megan, you give your first 1-word clue to Lindy. See if she gets it. If she doesn't, it goes to us for the next guess.
Wheels.
Car.
No.
Can you imagine if that was the word
This is
Megan came up
actually
with
kind of the-
that we were all so jazzed about?
Okay. Now the cool thing is here is we're building off of this, what you have already established.
Yeah.
Okay, Luke. You don't have to close your eyes, Luke, but it might help.
Okay.
Pedaling.
Oh. Boy, that was such a confident and then
It really was.
it was. I'm sorry.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
That was just to buy myself some time.
But remember the first. Remember the.
Yeah.
Two.
Bicycle.
Indeedly do, my friend. God, we're just too good
I should
at
have
this.
said Tour de France. She hates that word. Look how angry Lindy is at bicycle.
Well,
Oh,
I think
no.
I would have suggested turd as a callback to Lindy's story. I feel like
Hands.
that's
Do you guys want to know what I was going to do for my word?
yes.
Knife.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very violent.
All right.
I think I gotta go.
Okay, listen. I don't.
I'm
I just
scared.
want to say once again, Megan and Lindy, thank you for taking this time with us. We love your show so much, and both of you. And I have to say, in all sincerity, because we had such a fun time the first crossover and you know how it is with friends and even podcasters. There's a lot of like, we should do this again, and it never, ever, ever happens. And maybe that's fine most of the time. Maybe that's how it should be. But in this case, the fact that you all said yes, we should do this again was very gratifying to us because we are such fans of your show and both of you as humans.
Thanks. We
thank
love you
you.
guys too. And
were so
do know
excited.
what your names are.
Yes. Logan
All right.
and
How does
Arnold.
Deadpool.
No, we were so excited to be asked, and I think we should do this quarterly.
Ooh.
That's
This woman alert.
yeah.
BBW is speaking.
W Siren.
Okay, the fiscal quarters. We'll check in.
Okay, great.
Ooh, fiscal
Great.
quarters is one of my favorite BBWs.